Hello everybody, Brian York from Yorkie Moto Garage. Today we're going to talk about how to tune up a ct70. So we're going to start off with changing the oil, because some of you people are new to this and you don't know what to do or where to start. So we're just going to show you here a few fundamental things. Changing oil would probably be the first thing. Because most of the time when you get a bike, you don't know if the oil's been changed recently or if it's been 10 years ago. Sometimes you can look at the oil. This looks like it's fairly clean. It's got a little brown to it. I don't know how long it's been in there, and it don't look like there's a lot in there. So we're gonna drain everything out, and then we're gonna put some new oil in there. So we're gonna start off right now. Underneath here, there's a round hole right here. Right here, and there is a bolt there. It's got a 17mm head on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is where the oil is. We're going to drain this out and get started here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, get this, unscrew it real quick. Get my hand out there so I don't get too wet. Okay, so there we go. I see the oil's draining out right there. Get a paper towel here. I don't want to get this everywhere. So, while we're draining that out, we can do a couple different things at the same time while we're letting the oil drain out. We're going to go ahead and work on getting the spark plug out. So there's a bolt here and a bolt down here. I'm going to take these out, remove this guard, make sure it don't drop into the oil in there. Okay, now we've got access to get to our plug. I don't know what that plug is, but it looks like it's the wrong one. Now we've got a, let's see here. It's a 5/8 spark plug socket. We'll put that on here now and take this out. Let's get it loosened up. Take this out of here. It says Iridium CR7HIX. Boy, the end of it is just completely burned up. There's not hardly much of a tip left. So we're going to go ahead and put a new plug in it. Now, a lot of people just grab these plugs and they throw them in the daggone thing. They don't gap them. You're supposed to gap these plugs before you stick them in. It'll run the other way, but you're not really going to get it to run like it would as if you were to gap it properly. Okay, so what we're going to do, I've got a little gapping tool right here. We're going to set this between 0.6 and 0.7. So somewhere in between there, that is where we're going to set our points gap. Okay, so right there on the back, this goes from 0 to 6, and it's got 7 in the middle and 8. So we're going to go right there. We're going to open this up just a little bit. And we're going to keep going around this until we get the right. What you can do is you can open it up with this side of it and then slide it up where it needs to go. The point needs to be in between. Okay, so it needs a little bit less. So we'll take that, tap it down there, put the points back up. Okay, so I've got it right at between 0.6 and 0.7. So we're just almost right on the money there. Okay, make sure you put your crush washer on here. A lot of times it's just sitting in the bottom of the box, but you gotta make sure that washer's on there because that seals your spark plug when it goes in. And be careful when you put this in. Thread it in by hand. Don't try to put it in with your socket wrench, because if you get in there threaded sideways, and you'll have one heck of a mess. You'll have to take your head off or rethread it. I've seen a lot of them ruin these because of that. It's so sad seeing a head being ruined like that. Okay, somebody had the wire out of here, so we'll stick this back in there where it belongs. Okay. So boom, that's done. We can go ahead and put our cover back on here. Our oil is just about done. We're going to tip it up here in just a second. I want to tip the bike up straight so we get all the oil. See how there's more oil coming out of there? We'll make sure we get all the oil out of it. So you don't get all the oil out of it and then you put new oil in it. The old black oil is just going to mix with the new oil and it's just going to make it nasty. Now, after so many thousands of miles, it's good to take this clutch cover off, all these bolts, pull the clutch cover off. That'll probably be another video. We'll do a video on taking the clutches off and showing you how to replace the clutches and then clean. There's a filter in the bottom down here, but you have to take this cover off to do that. We're not going to do that today. Okay, so it looks like we've got all the oil out of it. Now we're going to take this washer here and we're going to clean the top of it. We don't want any excess dirt or anything in the top of that, so we're just going to clean it real good and make sure everything's good and clean there. I'm going to take this washer off here and clean it underneath. And we'll put it all back together. That way it seals real nice. Okay, so we got that all together. Now we're going to put this back in there. Same way with this one. When you put it in, you'll make sure you thread it in by hand so it's nice, and because if you don't, you mess up the threads. Okay, so we'll change this, put this back on. I think I did tell you this is 17 millimeters, so. Okay, that's done. Now, what I do is I get a fuel. I got a fuel funnel and I cleaned it out and I'm going to use it with oil. Okay, so what we've got here is, I use this Valvoline 10W40 motor oil. It's ATV, UTV, 4-stroke. If you turn it back here, it says for wet clutch protection. You gotta have wet clutch protection. You can use Honda GN4. I use this because it's more available because we don't have really a Honda shop around here. But okay, we're gonna take this dipstick out, and it's gonna take almost a quart. Not quite. You'll have a little bit left. Don't pour the whole thing in there because it'll be too much. But you want to do a little bit at a time. Kind of give it a few minutes to seep down in there. And when we get about a half quart or so, we'll start checking the dipstick and see how much we got in there. Okay, we got about a half quart in there. I'll put my piece of paper down because I don't want all this oil everywhere. Okay, now clean your dipstick off real quick. Stick this back in here like this. Now, this is what's really important. When you check the oil in the bike, pick it up off the stand and make sure it's straight up. Okay, I'm not even registering on the dipstick yet, so we're going to need to put quite a bit more in there. Okay, we're just going to keep doing this until we get the right. There's little checks on this. You want to be on this side, you want it to be all the way up to the top of where these X's are on the top of this dipstick. That's where it needs to be. So we're going to keep doing this until we get it to the point. Okay, we're right at the bottom where it's in the add area. So I'm going to put just a little bit more in there. Now if you get too much, you don't want to get too much. You just want to do a little bit at a time. So get this, and we'll find out. Yeah, we're there. We are just like right on the, almost perfect. So I'm gonna clean this off again so I can get an accurate reading. And I'll check this to see just exactly where we're at. It needs just a hair more, because once you get the motor, start working it in, and I suggest you run this a little bit and then come back and check it again after you run it, because a lot of times that stuff gets up in the engine and gets up into your head and everything, and you end up with a little bit less. Okay, you can see right there, the oil is all the way up at the top of the X's. So we're good. I'm gonna go ahead. I've got about, looks like there's about this much oil left in there, so almost 3/4 of a quart. So we're gonna take this and move this over here to the side. I'm gonna get a couple paper towels and clean up this dipstick and a few other things here. Okay, we got one more thing that we want to do. We can check the timing on this, but I'm not going to do that today because the bike is firing properly, and I've already reset the points and everything on this bike a while back, so I'm not too worried about the points. I'm more worried about just getting the bike getting it tuned up. So okay, so now we've got we're going to take the air filter element out. That's going to require a 10mm wrench. You've got an acorn nut right here, and sometimes it may be on the other side. But we're going to take this off right here, pull the air element out, and see what its condition is. Hopefully you guys don't have one that's deteriorated because it gets down in the carburetor and just makes a big nasty mess. There's a cap on the other side and a long rod that comes out of there, and wow, look at that. This thing is old and deteriorated, and then they put some kind of white matting in behind it. I don't know what the heck that is, but we're going to get rid of that. So we've got a new element over here. I got some of these the other day. These are already pre-lubricated, so I don't have to put any oil. But what I do is, if these are not pre-lubricated, I take some fogging oil, which you can usually get at the auto place. Get some fogging oil, and then just fog goes up real good, and then you're good to go. Now I've also got I've got to blow all this out and get all the air. I haven't cleaned the carburetor yet because I wanted to make sure that this stuff was all clean. You got to do this in order, because otherwise you're just kind of. So what we're going to do is clean all this off real good. Luckily, it wasn't really deteriorated. It's to the point to where it almost was getting there. So luckily, we caught it in time. Otherwise, you're going to have to clean the carburetor. Okay, so you got this, and then you got this tube that goes down in this, like that. And then the back of it goes to the back side. No, I'm sorry, it goes this way. Yes, that is correct. It's got these little tabs right here. So we'll take this and slide it inside here. You almost have to have 2 sets of arms here to do this. Okay, so we'll put this back on, slide it through the hole on this side. And then make sure you got, supposed to have a rubber cap on the inside of it. Make sure you're not missing the rubber caps, because if air gets in there, the bike's not going to run properly. Now these caps are in good shape. Everything's where it's supposed to be. Take your acorn nut, thread it back on there, and tighten it up. I don't know what I did with my wrench, just had it. Oh boy. So anyway, we're going to tighten this up, and then now if your air element is good, then I suggest to take the air compressor, blow all the dirt, everything out of it, respray it with your fogging oil, and then put it back in. But this one here, now the tube inside here, what that does, don't be afraid to tighten this up. The tube inside there keeps it from bending the caps. So once you get good and tight on there, then you're done. Okay, so oil's changed, new spark plug, filter's changed. The customer wants me to go through the carburetor and clean it, so we're going to take it apart, clean it, put a new kit in it, vapor blast it, and we'll go ahead and vapor blast the intake and clean it out real good and re-gasket it. But that's for another episode. So I hope this helped you, and make sure you subscribe and like my channel. If you have any comments, leave them below. We appreciate y'all stopping in at Yorkie Moto Garage. Thank you all so much, and have a great day.